The Keshe Foundation is proud to announce the Second Universal Council and Second Science Conferences, which will be held in Rome, March 27th through 31st, 2017. If you're interested in attending both or either conference, please go to www.keshefoundation.org and click on New Web Shop at the top of the homepage. You can attend the conferences as an audience member or participate as a science conference presenter. Presenters will be allocated 1 hour to present products and innovations in Keshe plasma technology in any of the following categories: space technology, health, materials, energy, agriculture, transportation, the environment, GANs and nanotech, and any other area that applies. Foundation distributors and manufacturers will be attending the conference, affording you the opportunity to build relationships to promote and market your products. The full package price for both conferences is €1,650 per person, which includes daily attendance to the conferences, 6-night stay in Rome, as well as breakfast, tea, and lunch on the days of the event. Accommodations for this package is based on double occupancy. Check-in on the 26th of March, check-out on the 1st of April. The full package price for 2 persons for both conferences is €3,300, which includes daily attendance for 2 persons, 6-night stay in Rome, as well as breakfast, tea, and lunch on the days of the conferences. Accommodations for this package include a twin room with a king-size bed. Check-in on the 26th of March, check-out on the 1st of April. You can stay additional nights if you wish at a cost of €175 per night per person. A single ticket for those who wish to only attend the Universal Council Conference, which takes place on the 27th and 28th, is €750, which includes the price of admission plus 2-night stay in Rome in a 2 single-bed room, as well as breakfast, tea, and lunch on the days of the event. Accommodations is based on double occupancy. Check-in on the 26th of March, check-out on the 29th. A 2-person ticket for those who wish to only attend the Universal Council Conference is €1,500, which includes the price of admission plus 2-night stay in Rome in a hotel room with a king-size bed, as well as breakfast, tea, and lunch on the days of the event. Accommodations is based on double occupancy. Check-in on the 26th of March, check-out on the 29th. A single ticket for those who wish to only attend the Universal Science Conference, which takes place on March 29th through March 31st, is €1,150, which includes the price of admission plus 4-night stay in Rome in a 2 single-bed room, as well as breakfast, tea, and lunch on the days of the event. Accommodations is based on double occupancy. Check-in on the 28th of March, check-out on the 1st of April. A 2-person ticket for those who wish to only attend the Universal Science Conference is €2,300, which includes the price of admission plus 4-night stay in Rome in a hotel room with a king-size bed, as well as breakfast, tea, and lunch on the days of the event. Accommodations are based on double occupancy. Check-in on the 28th of March, check-out on the 1st of April. If you would like to attend and prefer to make your own arrangements for accommodations, the price of admission to either conference is €200 per day. We look forward to meeting you at the Second Universal Science and Council Conferences in Rome, March 27th through 31st, 2017. The Keshe Foundation is extending an invitation to medical doctors of any practice and specialty to apply to the Foundation's private weekly medical teaching workshop. This includes medical doctors, dentists, and veterinarians. Scientists of the Keshe Foundation developed different types of plasma therapies and cures that utilize advanced, non-invasive plasma technology. The weekly private medical teaching workshop educates doctors to the plasma science behind the therapies, along with the functionality and operation of revolutionary plasma medical devices. The goal of the private teachings is to add plasma health knowledge to the profound knowledge of medical doctors. The weekly class is broadcast live over the internet through a secure private channel every Wednesday from 2 to 5 p.m. Central European Time. Presently, the class is only offered in English. However, you are free to bring a translator to the class. If you can't participate in the live broadcast, you can watch them later at your convenience through a private internet portal. Every patient's case that is discussed in the workshop will be kept anonymous and private. This includes catalogued findings and data gained from the analysis of the patient's health issues. Any medical doctor in the world who wants to participate can do so by sending an email to doctors@spaceshipinstitute.org. In your email, please state your willingness to participate in the medical teaching workshop. If you're planning on bringing a translator to the workshop, please state this in your email as well. After we receive your email, we will contact you with the instructions on how to apply to the workshop. As a part of the application process, applicants who apply, including any translators brought into the workshop, will be required to sign the Keshe Foundation's World Peace Treaty, which can be found at the following web address. All applicants will be required to provide proof of their education and ability to practice medicine, and will also be required to pass an extensive security background check before they are granted access to the teaching workshop. Healthful plasma technology is here, now, the use of which is increasing exponentially on a day-to-day basis on every continent. We encourage you to come and learn about this revolutionary technology. Apply today. The Keshe Foundation is extending an invitation to experienced farmers, agricultural specialists, and researchers to apply to the Foundation's private weekly agriculture teaching workshops. If you fall into one of these categories and are interested in plasma technology integration into agriculture, you're invited to apply. Scientists and agricultural practitioners of the Keshe Foundation continually develop and apply new methods of food and fiber production, soil fertility management, plant and livestock health management, and increased farm productivity using the most advanced plasma technology that is taught at the Keshe Foundation Spaceship Institute. In the teaching workshop, you'll learn the science of plasma technology and its applications in the field of agriculture for enhanced and equitable global food production while minimizing costs and external inputs. Practicing farmers and Keshe Foundation scientists will demonstrate their application of plasma technology in agriculture and the ensuing results of such applications, thus deepening and enriching learning for all participants in the private teachings. Participants are encouraged to demonstrate their farming practices in the teaching workshop. The private teachings are broadcast in English live over the internet through a secure private channel every Wednesday at 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. Central European Time. If necessary, you may bring a translator to the workshop. All applications are required to provide proof of their education and professional qualifications, must pass a security background check, and are required to sign the Keshe Foundation's World Peace Treaty, which can be found at the following web address. Translators that attend must also pass a security check and sign the World Peace Treaty. For details on how to join the private teachings in agriculture, send an email to agriculture@kfssi.org stating that you'd like to participate. Include in the email your education and agricultural experience and reasons for your interest in plasma technology. Applicants will be contacted with further instructions and details on the application process.
Welcome, everyone, to the 158th Knowledge Seekers Workshop of the Keshe Foundation Spaceship Institute. And once again, we will hear from Mr. Keshe of the Keshe Foundation Spaceship Institute. I think that's him in the background now. And this is Thursday, February 9th, 2017. and we'll have a full session once again with various knowledge seekers and the teaching from Mr. Kesh. I think you're ready, Mr. Kesh, are you not?
Yes, good morning to you. Good day, as usual, wherever and whenever you listen to these workshops. As we are fully aware, we have moved in the 4th year of teaching, and it's a joy to see how the work of Keshe Foundation worldwide, as all of us, is bearing fruit. Hopefully, in the coming week or so, we make or maybe a couple of weeks, we make a very important announcement for the future of the foundation. As in a way, our work as a team, as an international organization, as a family, has started paying off. Governments have started taking notice of the work and the change which this technology can bring. And what we see now is deployment of the technology. We expect sometimes around first, second week of April to organize an international meeting, press conference between 3 countries in announcing a new direction for the medical application of the Keshe Foundation worldwide in implication of the new technology, especially in the field of radiation and cancer. Our work will carry on the way it has been set, and it will not change. The only problems we see in the growth is the growth of the foundation and the technology, the way it's going. Many of you have done a lot of work, and many of you are still busy in your own way, and the level of understanding you're adding to the knowledge of the man. I thank you all. Without all of us, this would not be possible. I was told why last week I made again a concentrated effort in respect to DL and the website of the Fact About Keshe. We have achieved a major breakthrough in respect to DL and the organization and the people he's involved in. As we have seen for the first time, he has not posted anything since we asked him to write about the fire which a woman was murdered, because this gave them a direct indication we know too much. The second clue I gave in that presentation was that the company Philips International directors are innocent. They've just been pulled into. So they got to know that we know about the scam they set up 9 years ago, in 17 years ago, in 1999, when the software programmer was dead. There are 2 pieces of missing information with this, and this missing information was the murder of the scientist in Holland 17 years ago is directly connected to the murder in Belgium 8 years later. The people who are involved and been involved are both still active. DL is one of them. And the research team and security have come up with a very interesting result. The person interviewed by the police for the murder in Belgium in 2008, where now we see securities have put the picture of the fire and the name of the person who is supposed to be shooting himself or whatever. These are historical facts. The person who's been interviewed as part being involved in this has been writing patent for by DL in 1998, 1999. We have found a lot about clandestine activities of this organization, these people. Strange enough, on the day of the death of the scientist in Holland, a briefcase went missing. Strange enough, the reason for the murder in Holland 8 years later is that briefcase they were trying to retrieve. We are talking to prosecutors, we are talking to the lawyers, we are talking to families of all involved for very direct and work that these two gentlemen have been busy with. We have spoken and we are speaking to national securities, and strange enough, the pattern of the death in Belgium in 2008 follows the same procedure as Fabio's, but in a different way. Secondly, when we read what has been published by securities, a senior witness in respect to this death of the girl in prison, I have met as a colleague of DL and the man who's been interviewed, and nobody knew this. For the first time we're releasing it and we have informed the securities. The man who supposed to be a major witness, I've met twice. I didn't remember. DL reminded me while we were writing the books. He said, you met him. In the negotiations with Keshe Foundation and major tire manufacturers in Germany, he was instrumental introduction. So now you understand how a briefcase and the rest is set up. In every direction we see, and now the police most probably will go ahead with taking the bodies out of the graves for second testing, because the family was suspecting murder, but they could not go anywhere. But they didn't have any indication that after the murder of the father, two guys are patterning and selling the same information for the same amount of 100 million euro. Securities most probably in the coming week will release all the communications. You have seen there is no allegation. We work on a hard, solid fact. Even hard, solid fact that DL's, what I call collaborator, has been interviewed for the murder in Belgium, but they didn't have sufficient evidence because they could not connect the gentleman who killed himself in prison and supposedly, and DL's partner. They were in meeting with us twice. We have given evidence to the police and the lawyers. So it's not that it's coincidental. This guy was set up to find out how and where the suitcase is, and when they found out, they went for it, making the murder, what do you call it, some sort of trying to get it, and they got the suitcase, and now it's the same suitcase that's gone missing by the death of the scientist, carries the code of what you call it, compression. That's why they could not complete it. The suitcase was a key. This suitcase gone missing on the day of the death of the scientist in Holland. I thank all of you who are bringing information to us. You're collaborating with us. We will need your support to put information directly to the police in Holland again, because it's part of us that are attacking. The next step was the murder of me by the same two guys, and then they couldn't get it. The same plan, the same way as the accidental fire was set up. We saw two guys came to teaching of Valletta, trying to carry out the live assassination. while I was teaching on the Thursday. When they got caught the night before, one disappeared, and the one who was supposed to be a friend disappeared in South Korea. So now the police has most of the pictures because the murders are connected, the same people. Again, the name of interesting DL has been on the file of Italian police for my attempted murder from the first time in Desenzano. This is not accusation we make. As we said, we keep our friends close, our enemies closer. So we have to inform you, unfortunately, it started with Alan. We tried to put a pedophile away, but coincidentally, it has spread up literally to murder 4 people, which has nothing to do with us, but we have come to understand DL appears in every connection. The gentleman in Holland, the girl in Belgium, the man in prison who is closely associated with DL and his partner, and Fabio. Now, international investigation by the police has started. We are talking to the lawyers. Implication of this is huge, but the interesting thing is that the death of the man in prison, the major witness, is done by the police internally by DL. So now the police officers will go on the investigation. We know who's organized it. Same people as tried to kill me in Belgium. And very interesting, the police of Belgium is involved in murdering people in prisons. These are not allegations. Mysterious death, attack on my life. As we know, the same officer came to kill us in Belgium. And if you are a correct officer, you stand your point, you have a warrant, you don't start running, chasing, hiding behind the cars. It's been videoed. The same officer has just killed the person in prison. The same officer worked closely with DL. It's unfortunate a technology like this has to come across like this. Maybe a technology like this had to come to open the hand of the ones who are behind a lot of work stopping new technologies. We do not make accusation. Research people have put the pictures up. We asked DL to put it. For a week he's gone silent. Now the research team and security team have put it on Facts About Dirk. Read it. It's newspaper articles. Most probably in the next couple of weeks, we might bring the members of the families of people who have been murdered in this, and we'll give you a solid proof that these people have been involved in. We have a certain investigation outside Belgium because we had to. In Belgium, DL is well embedded with what I call gangsters. And as you've seen, we shown last week how he says he's a very straightforward man and the other guy is a scam. Now when we showed that he's on top of the political party with somebody who calls a scam, he could not deny it. It's his name. He spilled the website. And when we asked for the details of the file to be released, nothing has been done. Now security people have put it, the names are there, and investigation into what they call accessory to murder in respect to DL and his associates has started. We would like to see, because there is enough evidence to prove the connection. I have met the same guy twice prior for me to go to China 8 years ago with the associate of DL and DL present in the room. He told me who the guy was when he told me he killed himself in prison. Says, you met him, you know who it is. And then, strange enough, he told us that strange enough why his associate, he doesn't know how he's got hold of this suitcase. I couldn't understand that time. What was the significance of finding a suitcase? till we spoke with the family of the scientist who died in Holland before. Black suitcase carrying the initial of the scientist. This is a shame to be, and we are just repeating what is in public domain. Nothing has been put out which is allegation. We become a major point for cleaning our name. We saw a year of relentless attack. Do not forget that it was DL, as I said, who called the doctor in Bulgaria to say how I was poisoned, me being Italy, never spoken to him, and him in Belgium, while his colleague in Belgium was poisoning me. Now you understand, international criminal organizations to destroy scientists, to take their patents and whatever, is the job of the L. Strange enough, if you read the articles in the newspaper, the scientist was supposed to be paid 100 million. On signing of the contract, the next day, he died the night before. And strange enough, in the communication and agreements with DL and his associate, which was negotiating again with the same company, figure is exactly 100 million. There is no coincidences. They wanted the same price for what was getting paid before. The evidence is heavily loaded towards DL to be arrested, and having information about the murder case, withholding information is the same. We did not know this. In the past week, 2 weeks, as we gathered more and more information coming to us, thanks to you, supporters of Keshe Foundation and research team, everything has become transparent. We are talking directly to the families. Is my right because they went for my life? Is my right to investigate who's been trying to murder me, who's put me 11 days in Canada in what they call false confinement? All goes back to him. So we're not making accusation. We are defending Keshe Foundation. I'm defending my life being for attempt to kill me by the same man. I've been in the world of business, never had this for 30 years. Came across one man and from the beginning has been a problem. So please understand, we are not making accusation. We are in a way pointing out how facts about the Keshe Foundation, victims of the Keshe Foundation, Mehran Tawakkoli Keshe, all came up because from June we informed DL and his family that we are on the track to get him. Pedophilia is part of his work, claiming the man is a criminal and then sitting next to him at head of a master show the pattern of the same. And strange enough, Hollywood.com appears in 1998, 1999, with the same man as is involved, interviewed by the murder in 2008, and this briefcase missing in Holland in 1999. So unfortunately, this is the way such a beautiful technology had to be, to open the hand of the murderers, and then with the police. And as we said, maybe this is the beginning of end of monarchy, as everything indicates the direction in one way of the people who came to see us to ask for the technology to be given to them. In my meeting, in what I call a very funny kangaroo court case for the nuclear materials with the head of the nuclear inspection safety of Belgium, a man who's supposed to talk to me about nuclear material safety, he tells me, Mr. Keshe, leave the country. This is a wish of our king. Well, the nuclear case in court of assessing I carry no nuclear material has to do with me leaving the country. Again, DL was fully aware of it. He is accessory to the murder. We have already filed a case for his arrest in Italy. Now the police has enough to push ahead. He's connected, he has knowledge about murders and a suitcase which is he has withheld from the police. And strange enough, Belgian police did not know that the major witness is a close friend of DL and his associate who've been interviewed by the police. This opens a new Pandora box, but at the same time puts the man who's in the fire connected to the murder in Holland. So it complicates the case for the Belgian court. But on the other hand, it has to be known that DL is accessory to a murder. My murder, attempted murder, a murder of Fabio, having free connection with a man who was interviewed for a murder, now openly, now is in the public domain, and being able to write at the same time in the same area about the technology which has been stolen, and then suddenly he submits patent. As DeFosse said, one day happily cubed, the next day compression, because when you've stolen it, you have to milk it. And all the data from 1997-95 onwards shows close collaboration of DL and the suspected criminal in the murder of the lady in Belgium, directly connected to attempted murder of me. You have to understand one thing. We took a case to court in Belgium in 2011-12 for this man trying to kill me. And again, the police put pressure on the judges and the lawyers. We are not talking hypothetical. This gentleman we knew, now with the new research and how you helped us, confirms that both guys are involved in murdering scientists. The case is registered in the court of Belgium. There's been hearing on it, and the threats has been received by the same policeman threatening the lawyers, whatever, that I'm a terrorist, and getting them all sorts of things. And now killing a man in prison with the help of the police. These are not allegations, but DL is accessory to murder. Having information about a suitcase, which he was, most probably that's why he was talking to me all the time, because his partner got it. Now he doesn't give it to him, but he told me a couple of times, I don't know how he's got this suitcase. How did he manage to get it out of the fire? He planted his best guy to be. They knew where to look for it, they got it. So we collaborate with the court in Belgium, we collaborate with the court in Holland, we collaborate with the court in Italy. Hopefully our Austrian guy has done it, because we think a couple of scientists in Europe have been murdered the same way too. This is the international organizations where a court has to take charge of all the cases to be brought together. We have filed attempted murder of me in Rome over 4 years ago. So it's not something new, and we clearly indicated the same man who is interviewed for a murder in the case of fire is and has been accused by us of murdering and everything else of Keshe Foundation in Belgium since 2011-12. Now we got all the dots. The cause of the murder in Belgium in 2008 was to retrieve the suitcase which was stolen with the compression technology in Holland 8 years earlier. The mystery is how he managed to get there. And how did DL knew about this suitcase, that it was something in it that's his associate managed to get it and he couldn't have it. So we are prepared to go on the oath, we are prepared to go on the all the machinery which is needed to prove that we are correct in what we say. At the same time, there is a connection between the guy who says he's not a murderer, the boyfriend supposed to be, and DL that nobody knew. because, as I said, DL reminded me I've met the guy twice. The name of the company is a major tire manufacturer in the world. They work on batteries. They have a subdivision developing batteries. And this gentleman, who has been murdered or suicide in the prison, was on the table twice as connection of what we call DL's associate. So there is a connection nobody knew. Now we open it. And we have already spoken to the lawyers, to the attorneys. We are speaking to the families. And the case will reopen in Belgium very soon. And the same in Holland for the arrest of DL and his associate being part of or being accessory to murder, knowing and how this suitcase only on the day of the death of a scientist. 8 years later appears with a Dutch man in Belgium. I do apologize, we have to do this in a scientific organization, but in fact they would have been dead by DL, killed by DL. I wouldn't have been here to teach you so much. So our way touches your way. Please support the family of the scientist, support the family of the girl which is murdered in Belgium, that they'll be strong enough to stand what is to come. They have to go through the trauma of the death of their father, the death of the girl, the daughter, to put these people aside. And strange enough is that, as you remember, Alan left a lot of videos talking about what he did. DL's associate has left a lot of recordings talking about the fire. Don't forget, DL associate made a fake company called Keshe Foundation, Keshe Technologies in Holland, and we forced it to be closed down. It's on KVK. We submitted this to the court in Holland. So forgery and these kind of things is their work. We submit the dossier which is in Belgium, added to the case in Holland, and added to the case in Belgium to give support for the arrest of DL. He is associated, he is part of he is in possession of knowledge of a murder which he has not shared with the police. Once the things came out in past couple of weeks, we could put all the jigsaws together, we immediately have informed the lawyers. We stay clean and above, but that's why you see DL has not written. I'm sure in the next couple of weeks you will see securities releasing all the patterns with the name of DL and the gentleman who suspected the murder from 1998 together, 99, and then finding out about a compression, suddenly going into compression business, and subsequently waiting for a couple of years to cool down that they could do the negotiation. What we have seen from the securities is that, again, Mr. Who's involved in the murder in Holland is negotiating with Philips International. They're totally innocent for the same compression technology, the same value of 100 million. Everything is in black and white. There is no accusation. So in the coming days, coincidentally, last February the 14th, we got a call from FBI, and the 20th, Alan walked in. Today is the 10th of February, and let's see if DL walks in and hands over himself over to the police with his associate. The evidence is very solid, and we are working on it. I have stopped more or less most of my work till we bring this to close, because the pattern of the murder of the girl is a copy of the murder of Fabio, and I promised Fabio's father I'll bring the murderer to justice. 2 brothers, 2 drivers, one watching when they leave, one carrying out the job when they arrive, one watching when Fabio leaves with me from the Valletta, and the other 2 carrying the rollover. There is no coincidence. In this way, we do our job. And I thank you for all of you reading on that all the rubbish with the L put on, and knowing this was all lies, and you trusted and you stayed with us. But this shows the hand of the criminals. We have seen no sign of DL. Most probably he is on the run. Most probably he will write some more rubbish, but please understand, securities will release direct connection with all the 4 men. So it's not coincidental that a compression scientist, what they did not do is testing the body for high dosage of poison, because high dosage of poison creates heart attack. It was set up that way to be. So now we are asking for the body to be resumed, to be tested to see if we find any traces of poisons left after so many years. New technology maybe help to support us, but what the police did not know, the man who died in prison is a close associate of DL. I met him twice. In negotiations, we are prepared to bring the witnesses who've been there in that meeting. So what they seem to be nobody, they are well connected. Now we come to one point. We carry on with our teaching. DL, write more. Show the patterns you've written with the man who was suspected of the murder in 1998-99. Securities will do the same we did with your website for Rosam. Your name sits next to it. DL and your associate. You're connected before the murder. You planned the murder. And Dutch police is very interested. You'll be arrested. And I'll come and visit you in the prison with your colleagues. Because you have put fear into life of many people. Now it's time for you to live with your own fear. Let's go to teaching. Last week, we disclosed how we see the space technology. Last week, we disclosed and we understood more. There is a fundamental point. Those of you who understood the teaching of last week in respect to the spaceship must concentrate on understanding the process of the fueling. We've seen many trials from Keshe Foundation supporters where they load acidic with alkaline, where they disclose how the ball's gone missing, or they see a different motion in the characteristics of the material. You will not achieve lift and motion and construction of the physical entity unless you bring about 2 points at the same time. One, the system of motion, which is Magrath system, where you encapsulated with the conformation of physical existence. What does this mean? This is very simple. This is extremely simple if you understand it. Can I share a screen, please? Can you allow me to share a screen?
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead, Mr. Keshe.
It says this will stop others. Okay, it says continue. I'll go there. Okay. I'll go this away. Maybe we have solved the problem with a pen, as I explained earlier. At the moment, what we taught last week was that you made the spaceship platform, you placed your reactors, You made this plate to revolve. You have made a platform with a star formation. As we explained, the delta and the Y. Creation of the voltage difference in plasmatic field, creation of current flow.
I'm not, excuse me, Mr. Keshe, I'm not getting the screen share right now. Is it sharing for others right now? I'm
Can anybody see the white board? Hello?
Yeah, I can see it. Can you just reshare, Mr. Keshe? Maybe that might help for Rick.
How do I stop? I have to
Just
stop
sharing. Yeah, just stop and try it again, please.
Share the screen. Okay. Can you see it now, Rick?
No, I'm not getting it on my second screen like I normally do. I'm just trying to see if I can find it. Maybe it's behind a window here.
Do you want me to sing and dance till you find it?
Well, we have to describe it in a different way or something. Let me see if it's over on this side. There, okay.
Now I got my pen sorted. We got a problem somewhere. Maybe
Yeah.
we are not supposed to share the knowledge.
Oh, I don't think that's the thing. I think it's just a little glitch here. We just have to get sorted out. Let me see here. I don't understand where the window is.
Oh, you lost your window. Go through the door,
Right.
you'll come through the window.
Rick, did you want to just try sharing the video or the intro real quick? And then maybe you can see the window when you stop it.
Okay, that's an idea.
Maybe it got minimized.
Yeah, I
Remind me
don't
to charge the
see.
system.
Okay, there's my share for part of a window, and okay, that's the whole window though. That shouldn't be that way. Let's see.
Yeah, just stop it and then Zoom should pop up, right?
Try it this way. Share a different window.
Yeah, Rick, you just need to stop it. It was just to take over and get the window.
Okay.
Now, Mr. Keshe, can you try again?
To share?
Yes, please.
Can you see it now, Rick?
No, I don't see anything on my screen. Maybe I have to change my zoom or something here. Focus to next window. Bring all to front. I do not have my screen share showing.
Okay, then the next thing, can you just put the live stream on pause or show something else and then just leave the meeting and come back?
Okay, let me try that. Okay, so I will leave meeting and then come back. Let's try that.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
We'll wait till you come back to keep the YouTube in line with the others. We learned something while Rick is away, is that we cannot show certain videos or pictures of the scientific value. So we get restricted in a way to show a lot of medical research in the coming time. But as we learned, we cover ourselves in other ways to be able to share the knowledge.
Yes, that worked. I now have your screen up, Mr. Keshe, so you can carry on.
Welcome
Thank you, Vince.
The world of the image on the internet. Okay. So what we explained was that this line here is your platform with the reactors, which is dynamic, with the 4 base and top cores, where this unit here is your flight system, and this unit here in interaction of the field is for your physicality. You have to remember that the two are independent but entangled in the confirmation of the existence of one with the other. What happens is that the total interaction of the two will give a physicality in the dimension of the existence of UFO, where the lift system is forced to be within the structure of the dimension which is created, and the emotional part gets entangled in the interaction of the physicality. So where you see, in fact, if you look, you have such a position. On all faces here, you have creation of dimension. The rotation of the disk creates the spherical mushroom that the fields from the top come in. And this allows that this system to create gravitational positioning motion somewhere here in respect to the, what I call the planet or any position, where the interaction of the fields between the layers of the two cores which are creating the lift and the third core which is creating the physicality gives you the appearance and what we call the manifestation of the UFO or flying system. Do not work on that. That is going to be a very big scale. You can do it with a small desk at home. With less than $200–300, you can build your spaceship. Placing a small unit like this, that you can position it in a given area at a given strength, can create you a car which flies. This is what we had, we were going to show in Eindhoven. The interaction of the flow of the energy between the cores here and interaction of the cores like this, which allows you to a current voltage of megawatts. The flow of current of plasma in megawatts. The difference in this direction will give you the current flow. This is the potential difference. This is the current flow difference. This way, you have to decide what the fuels you put in these cores are made of. And what fuels you place in these cores. If you choose the fuels of the matter state of the Earth, you will be bounded to Earth. If you choose the fuel of the gaseous part, you will be on the flight zone. You never go into the matter zone. The choice of the fuel gives you the dimension of the flight. If you extend the knowledge to understand that you can have a system which creates a gravitational field force, but if you understood from the teaching of last week, you can create yourself structures of buildings, what you are used to, where in fact your reactor cores make the structure of the building. You position cores in a specific condition and position, which that will give you the shape of the house you want to perceive. So in a way, in the morning you can live in a rectangular house. By afternoon you decide, I want the room to slightly change. You move your position of the reactors, you live in a circular house. You can pack and move. This is the advantages, and in a construction of the buildings, if understood, can be used as a position to set condition in the earthquake zones, where buildings are separated from the physical structure of the body. Now we see different materials. This costs a very few dollars, delivers the same. The horizon of using this technology is vast, is beyond imagination. If you look and understood how I explained last week, you could make sections and segments with the use of reactors, this is no different. Just inspiring to use. At the present time, one of the dreams of the man is a railway. Understanding this technology, you decide on the cabins without a railway track. Destruction of the forest, laying rail tracks and expanding into parts of the jungles which are precious for the earth can be avoided. What we teach just now is not something new. Those of our listeners in the background who know, we offered this to the African, Central African nations some 3-4 years ago. There is a World Bank guarantee to establish a railway between the Central Africa, South Central African nations, that they can have access to ports and make commerce in Central Africa possible. Indian ambassador at the time has been involved in it with his family, with his sons, and we looked into it. The budget for the African nations to be involved in this railway has been put at 11 billion. As we know, These things, by the time they come to finishing line, is 30 billion, and for small nations to cover 30 billion for industrialization, or at least having a line of commerce to pay for next 50, 100 years, is too much. We estimate with this, the proposal which we have made, with less than 10 million, all you need to do is clean, clear, point off what I call the dispatch and landing. The changes are huge. It's not something we just tell you now. It's something the Foundation has been working in the background. Understanding the new application of the miniature reactors in this shape allows you physicality and motion at the same time. You fuel your reactor in the combination of the materials within the borders of a nation. There are ways to be done. You can make it very easy. We are encouraging the young people to start looking on the development of the new space computers through the operation of the GANs. They are masters. All they need to do is to translate the knowledge in the interaction of the emotion and the soul of the man, and the emotion of the, or what we call the motion of the GANs of the reactor, that it allows the contact. For a lot of you have seen this, but you haven't felt it. Is John in the background? John, are you awake? Hello, do you see him in the panel?
Don't see John. I don't see John Bliven there at this point. Does anybody else know if he's around?
Okay, what they did a very test with 2-3 of people in Arizona last week, and I explained this before, that as they approach the reactors changes. The speed of the motion of the reactors according to our emotion changes. And they explained this, that John explains it with his emotion. He could feel the change in the speed of the rotation of the cores. They have posted a video, which we have shown, is that when they turn on a plasma, which is of a different strength, meters away, affects the performance of the flight system reactors, the core, the speed of the rotation. So gradually we are establishing the field interaction with the emotion. Some times ago, we showed some work in this direction, but it got sidetracked and Ali was involved in it. Could not bring the rest of it in. Now you can see the total development. Now we come to the point where you need to produce a system which produces plasmatic energy. A lot of you have been looking for the source of energy in the space reactor technology because you were relying on a power supply to supply the energy. Many times we explained the process. One of the processes that you have to follow, and it needs to be done, is to understand that the power we supply to turn the reactors are in electron vibration, which is one of the weakest. Go back to the teachings. Go back into what we started a year, 2 years ago. Let me explain how far you can go back. Maybe those of you understand. Our friends who work with us, they should understand. If you go back, please take a picture of this. One day it'll be historical for you. Go back in the star formation, go back in the delta and Y formation, go back in feeding a plasma which is much more stronger than electron vibration. You need to tap onto it. For example, remember Alex's beads. You connect the Alex's bead for preload to the Y and for afterload to the base 3. Do not forget the use of capacitors. Now you have your energy source for your reactors. Remember, it takes billions of years for a star to be formed. It takes time for your beads and your magnifying units on the voltage and current to start building up according to the load which you add by the use of the reactors. Remember how you created the capacitors and the feedback from the load side on the current to the supply on the voltage. Then what you see is very simple. Extremely simple. I have given you your source without the connection to the earth. It takes time to build the voltage and current. Our friends who are in this development with us understand. The more load you add, the higher voltage you receive. You ask more, is given more. You'll find your system will come into operation. You have a power generator, you have a flight system, and you become self-sufficient. The existence of the conformation of the energy comes from the choice of the fuel in the reactors. And many times, I explained in the teaching that you have to look for hydrogen. I explained this last week. Find a way to produce hydrogen in a gas state. We have allowed and shared knowledge with two of our closest friends in the foundation how to do it. This is needed that we protect in the early stages that the mayhem does not break through. We have gone for loading of the hydrogen reactors. When you load hydrogen reactors, then you are not limited to Earth, but you become the passengers of the universe. As the hydrogen as a plasma is the key to the motion of the fields in the universe. You can create a condition even for a plasma of the hydrogen to behave as a carbon to give you a structure in the crystal lattice that you receive physicality. Go back to part of the teaching where we spoke about diamond structure. Look at why in the body of the man a specific material creates hard, tangible crystal structure you call calcium, the bone structure of the man. Carbon-13, in a specific orientation of the 3 layers of it, becomes calcium. Manifests itself in a matter state of the calcium. Then you understand how you can use hydrogen to behave in an interaction, that you can have a soft tissue, hard tissue, a bone structure, in the diamond structure of the matter which you want or you would like to manifest. No calcium goes from your stomach and becomes part of the bone. The energy and the conformation of the position of the fields dictates that that energy will convert to physical matter of the bone. When you die, or when you take carcass, has a physical matter of the bone in your hand. Understand how the body of the man creates soft tissues, transparent tissues, and you can do the same in the structure of the house or your flying object. You can create within the structure of the spaceship tissue, membrane, muscle tissue, softness, hardness, as you decide, according to the choice of interaction of the fields from the basis of the hydrogen. The diamond structure of the hydrogen is one of the most solid, powerful structures that does not get damaged or touched in the universe unless you decide to change the field section of the environment of the hydrogen. You remember when they spoke about CO2 as a gas, and then we showed that the CO2 can become a gas and you can dry it and physically hold it in your hand according by the law of the physics. Gases can only become matter at very high pressures or whatever, and you went against the trend of the presumed perceived knowledge. Now you understand, in the coming time, man will create solid state matters at any strength he likes, soft tissue, transparent, walking through solid state from the solid state GANs of the hydrogen. Hydrogen, especially deuterium level hydrogen, plasmatic magnetic field, is the key into the space travel of the man. You cannot create reactors which have copper oxide and zinc oxide and try to travel the depth of the space and not to be touched, as the field strength will create different dimensions for the plasma of the GANs of the entity, where hydrogen has in the deuterium level more or less solid size state matter, which means does not get affected by the environment which is traveling into. So if you travel with the reactors which carry copper oxide, coming to near planet Zeus, there'll be no strength because it dilutes. Voila, you're traveling on your own without a home. It's gone because the field strength has interacted or been influenced by the environmental condition. Where with hydrogen, according to the environment, as a minimum common denominator strength, you stay the same. Now you understand the knowledge of space is very simple. It's the man who has put restriction on his own understanding. So the task for Keshe Foundation supporters or the people who work in the space level is to develop the GANs of hydrogen. I have released the information to 2 people. Trusted people within the foundation. That if anything happens to me, they can carry on with the revelation. The understanding is that you have to go back to the fundamental teaching, not in what you wanted, but what is the reality. You have seen how you have created solid carbon in the form of GaNs of CO2 dried. Extend your knowledge and understand the knowledge. Do not become monkey see, monkey does. Then you can produce the GaNs of hydrogen. Then you find a fuel for the deep space travel without ever being harmed. There is more teaching. Then when you understand the structure of the GaNs of the plasma of the hydrogen, you have to find the soul of the hydrogen. Then you understand the operation of the creator. As within the soul, within the structure of connection of its emotion, you can manifest anything from the hydrogen without ever touching the hydrogen. That's the knowledge of travel within the universe. As we said, we just don't teach the man. There are those who are more well educated, now they learn the next step of their work. Understand the division does not exist. Cooperation and collaboration and interaction is the key to development and success of the hydrogen in a GaNs state, hydrogen in nanomatter state, hydrogen in the field strength. You have to understand, you have to extend the knowledge to walk away from what has been a learning ground. This has been the school to learn alphabet. And now you have to put the alphabet together to make the sentence. Go back and understand how you created GaNs. Go back and understand how GaNs creation has led you to development of new materials. Understand that the development of the new materials are well connected to the production of the fields which are non-tangible, which are free, which are connected to the emotion of the plasma of the hydrogen. Many of you will achieve this in a short time. And many of you will wonder for thousands of years, how does it work? Enlightenment is our job. Teaching is your job. If you understood how to create this by placing very few hydrogen reactors, you can change the characteristic of a cancer cell. You can create the missing finger. If you understand furthermore, you can bring the lost father back to the physicality that the child can have father. This is the depth of the knowledge. In the writing of Christ and Christianity, you call it reincarnation. Reincarnation in a physical matter is only possible when the soul can be touched, when the soul can bring part of its connection for the manifestation of itself. In a way, those of you who understand this can create the fields that you manifest yourself here in 1 second and next in somewhere else. But it needs a very close connection to the emotion and understanding of the operation of the soul. Any questions which is relevant to this part?
Mr. Keshe, there is a question in the live stream, which I think is relevant. It gets into a bit of the physicality, but Zen Rogers says, hello, Mr. Keshe. Hip replacement is a very tough surgery. Many old people have their hip sockets degraded. Is there any GANs or procedure to help build that socket bone back to normal? Thanks.
Yes, you can. It's been done. I have done it a few times. It needs very much the knowledge of the GANs. It needs understanding of the knowledge of the construction of the hip. And it can be done. You can even rebuild the cartilage, you can build everything inside the joint, and it can be done, yes. But you have to extend the knowledge. I used to use the padded handicap chairs to sit people in it. And they used to feel good, and the minute they felt good, they start walking. I tell them, you cannot do this. You got to give it at least 2 months, 3 months to solidify completely. After a week or two sitting in the wheelchair, or in the bed with this thing around their body, they feel good, the pain is gone, the interaction is more or less complete, and they literally rub it off because it's not solidified fully. We see it on the MRI. The full development of the bone and everything else. Yes, it can be done.
Would this be similar to what you're speaking of with the spacecraft construction in creating the skin and floors?
Yes, it can be done. Those of who been used the systems, they know what I'm talking about. We use. Let me change this so that you can see. I don't do the health systems anymore. I stopped doing it. I used to use what is called the padded. These are the best thing I found out. Is the padded handicap chairs. So what I used to do is to build systems inside, and according to the hip operation, because you cannot concentrate on the hip position and everything else because of the pain has changed position. So you have to deal with the upper leg and the spine. And you build the system here. If you look at it face wise, you place reactors in a specific position that it covers the hip, concentrates on the hip, and with a specific way to put a system here, you concentrate the fields and you can rebuild the bone. Can be done. And it's done. It's not that it can be done. And it works. But now you have an option with use of GANs that you can do the same thing. But you have to know what you're doing, because you can grow pieces which is not needed in places which are not needed. Yes, it can be done. I've done it many times. It's a pleasure to see somebody who's in a wheelchair to start walking. In this phase, in this connection, I have to explain to you, those of you who joined the Keshe Foundation for the injection for the cancer, what we have seen and what we have come to accept is that some of our trials directly involves the condition of HIV. What we are extending the what we call the cancer research into the public HIV research too, where we can deliver technology through the injection as well, that we can see the change in the HIV. So those of you who suffer or know people who are in condition of the HIV or what you call AIDS, we see and we would like to invite you to join the trials, the new trials which we have set up. It's the same as the cancer trial. And we would like to collect data. We have already 4 people on this program. We want to extend and see different ways on doing it. So those of you who are still suffering from cancer, please go to doctors at KFSSI or Spaceship Institute. We accept people. We need to extend the knowledge. And we add to this people who suffer from HIV. If you suffer from AIDS, we would like to test the injection process directly for it, and we know it does work because we've seen some results from other tests. And in the way of injection, you can close things very quickly. We'll see if it works, how it works. You have to understand it's a trial case. So if you still, we showed the pictures of the breast cancer last week, and at the same time, we cannot show these things because of the, what you call, ethical conditions on the internet, that you cannot show, even though it's scientific. We are looking. Now we are extending the research of the injections from cancer to HIV. And if you suffer from this infection, we think the cancer injection could be a solution to it. We have one of our volunteers, he wants to be out, to be known, he's using the technology. He's a very well-known actor, and he's well known for acting in one of the famous movies. And then we have now got a second actor who is not acting anymore, who was part of it. So we have 2 well-known people in the world of show business who are, and we have taken up. And the second one, we are what we call processing for the, what we call the injections. But we have the second. It's amazing how the world of movies has a lot of people infected with this. So we have accepted the second case. We are about to start in next week or so the process, and we have another one which is in the background, and we'll see and we release the knowledge. These people like to see if it goes through and they're happy, and the doctors can confirm it, to promote the Keshe Foundation plasma injection technology for eradication of the HIV. We've seen some research done in Togo. Now we do this research in a full operation with the hospitals. We are still looking for cancer. Some people have written to the foundation that if they can have the injections free. We cannot do this because the burden of the finances on the foundation is beyond what we can tolerate. Maybe in the future, if we receive a support from a government that allows us to carry on with our research, we'll make it what they call it, reachable by a majority of the people. What I would like to see is, when we get more chance as time, to show how you can treat the production and increase in the energy of the body of the man to a spaceship. That you can understand the interconnection, because you can use the energies of a spaceship to remedy the illnesses of the man. So you can go in one room, you create, as you understand, the creative energy. If you receive the high dosage of given energy as a plasma field from excursion into space, you can deliver it without any harming anybody else. So you cannot create infectious, what you call, viruses inside the craft. This will teach in time to come. And what we call decontamination, that the energy balance before and after departing for excursion is the same, that you do not bring any viruses with you into the communal area of a spaceship. This is part of the medical application. We can, what we do is, the scientific people will do it. We measure the gravitational magnetic field, the strength of a given, what you call, aura of the man. And in going and coming back, the aura strength has to be the same, and more or less then you collect or you pinpoint certain points which have to be the same. So let's say if the energy package attaches itself to your kidney, but you lose somewhere in your liver, but the balance is the same, we can see what has happened, that you bring the balance and you don't cause any problem. These are the development which gradually the medical side will come to. Any other question?
I was wondering along those lines, Mr. Kashif.
Let me, before I forget, as we are in Africa and we are going into different direction of process, I have with me about a container load of these kind of pieces of what I call for paraplegic and handicapped people in Barletta. I don't have any use for it. If anyone can do with it, we can let it be at your disposal for building different kind of reactors into it to help different people. One piece to be made, one piece just to be put a leather for a specific application is 700-800 euro. A full chair, two-piece chair, they charge a couple of thousand euros. These are very specialized pieces. I don't have the time to use them. But those of you doctors, especially doctors, who would like to use these pieces, I have collected these over years. And they are precious because you can pinpoint very much, put the cores or the reactors inside and solve the problem very fast. They are there. They're worth at least €500,000+ what I have. I'll leave it as a disposal of the doctors if they want to use it, and if you want to do anything with it, or if you want to make something and test it with the reactors which they stay solid. I use this, for example, for the leg or for the femur. For the femur, people don't like things to be attached to them or glued to them. You just make two of these which are for the upper leg, cascaded, reactors fixed, they go to sleep with it, they get used to it, and in the morning, after a few weeks, you see the eradication of the illnesses. So, if you go and look into any pieces in which is used for paraplegic, different sizes, we have, I think, about 8-10 cages. It's a 20-foot truck, a container of it. Doesn't need to go all to one person, but if you want to ship it, it's in Barletta. I ship this with me into Italy. Now I don't practice, so those of you who are in the world of medicine and you want to do it, target, what do you call it, the disease at a specific point, is very much fixed. Nowadays you use patches, but these are very effective in what do you call it, development of the long-term illnesses to correction, like especially like after chemo therapies. You can reduce one and increase the other, reduce the plasma fields in the muscle tissue and increase the strength of the bone marrow. It's a precise work, and I've used this for nearly 20 years. Now, I'm not in that kind of research, but I've seen a lot of good results with it. So if you can use them, it has to go in two or three people, and then you spread it. But we have this, I have collected it in Italy. There are two pieces, like the chair is two pieces you put together. We have chairs which are one piece. We have pieces which are for the arms, for the neck. So if you're a doctor and you can use it, you have to ship it. The material I have anywhere in the world you want to send it to, you can ship it from Valletta. It's available. And it's for you to make a discretion how, and don't take it to hawk it, take it that you can use it. Any other question?
Okay. Vic mentioned, I am trying a different way to create hydrogen GANs, and at present I have a total blue liquid water. He says, Rick, can you ask Dr. Keshe if that is the first step?
Good morning.
Good morning, yes. He says,
your answer. But how blue is the blue?
he mentioned something about it's had a hydrogen placed in the water. The procedure is similar to CO2.
Would you like to share it?
We can see if we can get Vic to speak here. Let me see if I can find him on the list. Vic, I'll promote you to a panelist, and maybe you can speak if you like to there. Okay. If you can unmute and speak and explain a little bit about your question, that'd be great. I can try to unmute you. I'm not sure if you want to even speak. I'll try to unmute. Hello, Vic. Can we hear you there?
You hear me?
Yes. Hello.
Yes. Good evening from Sydney. Good evening, Dr. Keshe.
That'd be Sydney, Australia. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, that's correct. Sydney, Australia. It's very hot.
Okay. There's a Sydney in Canada as well, right next to me.
Well, in Canada at the moment, it's very cold and it's very hot here in Sydney.
True.
Let's
indeed.
share it. It'll become medium, somewhere in the middle.
Yeah. Well, Dr. Keshe, I assume you're in Italy, so you're in the medium. I got this microhydrin capsules in vegetable form created by Dr. Patrick Flanagan. He is a scientist and a genius in the States. And I've been getting this microhydrin for the last virtually 5-6 years. And I've had few of them, and I said, well, I put them in a container with the similar procedure as CO2, the way we do it. But I've created the plasma and coated copper from one side and copper coated, nano-coated on the other side too. And in the middle, in the water, I just placed a couple of microhydrins, which is microparticles of hydrogen. And within a couple of days, putting it on a couple of volts of potential difference, I just had the water. First, it was a little bit darkish, dark color in the water. And within a couple of days, it just become very pure blue color of water, liquid.
Yeah,
liquid.
but that is, let me explain to you, there is a difference. That's why I said what color blue. Blue color, if you use copper, is nanoatomic GaNs of copper will change to that blue. I have some of it. That doesn't necessarily mean hydrogen, unless you can explain to us how you produce it. You mentioned if you have a copper in your system and you use a specific way of the caustic, you produce a blue copper GaNs. It's translucent blue.
Well, this is translucent blue too.
But the GaNs of hydrogen, one of the GaNs of hydrogen is transparent blue. That's why I wanted to know if it is.
Well, I can't show it to you at the moment, but it's very sort of a clear blue. It's a little bit bluer than the sky. If you look at the sky, the atmosphere in a clear dive.
Can I ask you a few questions and you can explain to us?
Yeah.
Is this copper on its own? Or do you have a plastic with it?
No, it's the copper it's on its own. The container is plastic. That doesn't. I don't know.
Explain to us. It's just that we would like to learn. We are all here to learn.
Well, I mean, I'm just testing. I'm just trying different procedures. It's the same thing as.
But exactly what have you done exactly how have you connected your container?
The container is a simple plastic container. It's just here in front of me at the moment. I got on one side of the container, I got copper coil, nano-coated, like gravitational magnetic, doesn't make any difference. And on the other side, the same thing, I've got another coil which is nano-coated. And in the middle of the water, same as the CO2, I just put a little bit of a salt and I put a couple of microhydrons, which is particles of hydrogen. And you know, it's like anything else. If I put a zinc on one side and copper nano-coated on the other side, it just creates a CO2 in the middle. This is, I just put in the middle the microhydron capsules, and it's like the
you get this material in the capsules.
Yeah, it's a hydrogen.
And the capsule is empty, or you have something in it.
Hydrogen particles.
How do you put hydrogen particles in there?
Well, I don't know how Dr. Patrick Flanagan does it. He's a genius in the States. He created a control for flying saucers. I mean, flying at age of 13 or whatever. And he have created lots of things at very young stage of his life. So he, at the moment, he have created hydrogen particles about. That was about 10 years ago. I got his cassettes. And
can you show us the apparatus, please? Do you have access to show it?
Have I got what?
Can you show us the setup?
Can you start your video there, perhaps?
Well, not at the moment because my camera is damaged. I got lots of things that have gone bang at my place and whatever. I mean, I can try to set it up for next week.
If you could, please. Yeah, it'll be fantastic.
And show you what I'm doing. But I just wanted to know if I'm on a true path, because I've been drinking it, I've been mixing it with CO2, the transparent, the liquid water of hydrogen, which I think it's sort of some sort of a purity or something based on the chakra or whatever, and I'm mixing it up with CO2, and I've been drinking it for the last 2 weeks, and you know, I mean, I feel good. I'm still alive, so you know, I mean, I'm just testing different things.
Please show us.
I'll send it to you next
I
week.
think could possibly you're on the right track. And if you can replicate it, then you can fuel your reactors for the space with this mono fuel system. But we got to see it.
Yeah,
Let
sure.
us, next week, please come in and share with us.
I'll show that next week.
As I said, when the knowledge is shared, we open the doors. I want to see what you've done, and then we can share it how you can. That's
Thank
perfect.
you very much. Thank you very much.
We'll see you next week. Please come back and share knowledge with us.
Thank you, sir. Thank
Thank you very much indeed. Thank you. We have one which is from last week to share knowledge. Do you have that, Rick?
Yeah, Rene Meska, and I've got some videos from him. I'm just having a look to see if he's in the chat, perhaps.
Do you see him?
I thought he might be in here, but I don't see him. Rene, if you are in here, we do have a viewer there. Oh, there he is with his hand up. I'll promote him to panelist. Couldn't see him because he had his hand up. I was going through the rest of the list. Okay, there we go. Rene, you should be able to speak there now.
Yeah, good morning. Hello.
Hi.
Last week, to share the exact wiring of the CH3 production, and I have a hand drawing that you can see how the wiring is done. So if you want to see it, I can share the screen now.
Yeah, go ahead.
So, okay, I'm trying to make this image bigger.
Yeah, the best way to do it is to select your picture first and then share it, so we don't see everything, but it's all good anyway.
Okay, so can you see this picture now?
Yes.
Okay, here you can see there are two bottles. They are of glass, and on the left side here is a zinc plate, and this zinc plate is connected to the nano-coated copper wire in the other glass. So this connection that I made here is a serial connection between two containers, and then I got the idea to speed the process up with this capacitor that I made. And here you can see the layers of the capacitor and the exactly things that I used to build it up. And if I connect it this way, as we talked last week, the production starts very fast, and the output of the GaNs is very huge. So what we didn't talk about last week was the wiring. So this wiring could not be seen on the picture, but another person has recognized it, that there is a wiring. So here you can see it. And the last thing that we didn't talk about is that the last step that I make is that I put some liquid plasma on this side, so only 3 drops on the nano-coated copper, and here I give the information of 3 drops of the CH3 liquid plasma that I produced some months ago. So my idea was to tell this capacitor give the information of the CH3 directly to this wiring that the production here is better. So these were my thoughts when I built up this this setup. So if you have any questions to this setup, I can tell you more about if you want.
And I've also got the video, right? That's the same one as the setup. Were you going to show that, or should I show that now?
Yes, so here I have some pictures. This is also very interesting because the GANS changes its colors. So after the process, the color of the CH3 GANS was this. So there are many dark particles lying on the ground, and on top there is a layer of brown particles. So there are different particles. The next thing that I saw was that there were some kind of crystals in the GANS, and these are the white particles. And Mr. Keshe told last week that this maybe is CO2 particles. And now I can show you a picture from the glass that is very interesting. So this is a photo from the glass inside, and you can see that there was produced some kind of thin layer on the inner side of the glass, and this you can peel it off, but it's very hard to pull it off. I don't know what this is, but when you come to this material with the light, it changes the colors from yellow to red to green to brown. It's so every color seems to be in this I don't know, crystal, or is it a kind of plastic, or I don't know what this material is. And the last thing that I can show is a video from the GANS that I made yesterday. But I have to take another screen. So one moment, please.
And make sure the volume is down if there's any background music or sounds.
Thank you. So I don't know if the upload from my internet is good enough that you can see these particles. So strange things happen at this time mark. I noticed it in the video. So I want to start it now. And here you can see that there are 2 or 3 drops of this GANS in a small glass container, and this container is standing on a rotating magnetic field. And the interesting thing is that there are these particles that are going in this kind of circular direction. It happens sometimes that this particle changes its direction and go to the other side. And
can I ask you a question? These
yes.
Black particles, are they nanomaterials?
I think so, because these particles were produced in the CH3 GANS bottle. So it takes some drops out and put it in another position.
Okay, carry on, please.
Yes. So my thought was that the particles will position itself in the field, and there you can see now some strange reactions.
No, this is a centrifuge. I can see what's happening, but it's very interesting.
So here the particle changes its direction. and I did not change the speed of the rotation from the magnet.
Where
So
did it change the direction? I'm just trying to see which one you're talking about.
yes, this is at the time mark 38 seconds. So you have to look at this particle. I don't know if you can see it on the...
Yeah, I can see it. I can see it. Yeah.
Okay.
It went backwards and it collided.
Yes. And it looks like that the two particles are connected to each other in a way.
Yeah, this is...
So why do they do this?
I think this could be two things. This could be because you made the CH3 with iron. There could be atomic ion clusters, or if it's a GaNs in the interaction with the fields of other GaNs, it has to balance itself up. This is how you get positrons. This is what I said in many of the original teaching, especially when we were doing tests in Tehran. And in the people like Arman who've been around with me for a long time always explain, you show it physically now here, that depending on the condition of the field strength, the electron become positron. You see change of direction, and you show it here clearly. I think if you observe this, you will see other particles which randomly change direction, and they go back again, traveling when the field strength is the right way. You have another particle in there which is reversing. So it's gravitational magnetic field positioning themselves. And what is very interesting is if you look at this, I even was explaining to Arman recently. This is why you need to add GaNs into your solid state GaNs or nanoparticles into your GaNs or plasma. Because you see, if you look at the cloud, stays steady. The motion of that matter state or a nano state is what stirs up. And this is why the Earth rotates. In the rotation of the Earth, the inner core, as if you read in the book 1, or I explain more in the books number 4, is the central core of the Earth, for example, is a mixture of the GaNs, nanomaterial, plasma, and matter state. And here you see it, why you need to be able to mix the nano state of the material into the GaNs, because that stirring creates a balance of fields. And this is why in the space reactor we see the same thing. With that stirring of the field by rotating the disk, we do the same. Can you explain to us what you're doing now?
Yes, I want to check if I can. I'm looking for a way now to control these particles in a kind of way. And
you still have a magnet rotating underneath.
Yes, this is a rotating magnet, and here you can see how the particles are positioning itself in a magnetic field. So
this is a centrifuge. You're creating stirring from underneath because the liquid is rotating.
Yeah, so I built a platform. There is so here is a neodymium magnet underneath, which is rotating at a speed about 500 to 700 rounds per minute. And this is I found out that this is a very good speed to show the reaction in the GaN. So at this speed, the particles are very active. I think And I don't know how this will go on, but it's very interesting to see. And here I get the idea how the torus of the magnetic field, how big it could be, because if I put this container upwards, so I can take it about 10 centimeters higher, and the field is also visible now in this bottle. So I put this glass near a maggraph, and if I leave it for about a night, so about 10-12 hours, the structure of the particles also changes. So now I can visualize for me how the field is how the field is going, and maybe this could be.
What is on this dish? What is the black? What material is the black which you are using?
So every video that I show you and every picture that I show you is from the same GANs. It's this.
Yes. For what I'm asking, on the left picture we see is the GANs at the bottom, the white. What is that GANs, or is it a GANs in there, or is it just a black in the pattern of the color in the back? It shows like a powder.
Oh, I don't understand your question.
Okay, let me ask you. I can come in and then do it this way.
He's asking, is there any white powder in the dish, or is it only black?
Here, you see here, we see a lot of black stuff, yeah?
Yes.
Is this the material here in this area? Is it a powder or is just a glass? And everything we see here is a black powder?
So everything you see here is GANs.
Yes, but is it a black GANs, or do you have the dish with like a GANs of CO2?
So
what is in that container? What is in that thing? What material are in there?
So this is the GANs. It was when it was produced, it was black. And it changes its colors now. Now it's like a military green. This is now the color, and it is very difficult when you make a photo. Then the color is not what you can see.
What is in this area? Is this empty glass we just hear? Do we see just the background with the dust of that GANs on it, or is it just a see-through glass?
This is so only the.
It's not a GANs. It's not a layer of a GANs of, let's say, CO2 in there.
No,
that's glass we see. And what is that big black in the center? How is that created?
Yeah, this is when you put this this object.
Rene, maybe you should play the video, because that's how it was created through the later part of the video. Still have 2 minutes to go there.
What I assume you have, maybe I'm wrong, but because this is a CH3,
yes,
and you created a CH3 from the existence of iron.
Yes.
These particles are nano iron particles, and that's how they respond with the magnet underneath.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's
You
the
understand?
case. Yeah.
So we have to learn that you have managed to create a ion of GANs of iron, and the behavior is the interaction of the fields underneath of the ion interacting with its own. So we can see it'll be very nice to see if we can mix some of the white GANs into it and see how the two behave if the white GANs concentrates in the middle. Is that the white GANs you're adding?
No, this is only water. This is
water. You're
only
disturbing the pattern, so it comes back in together.
So I have another video that I can show you where there are where there is not so much GANs in the glass, and there you can see different colors of the GANs we have.
Please do so.
Yeah.
Let me clean up my mess. Where is it?
So I have to look where it is. No. Yes. So it's very hard to shoot photos, but here you can see on the left side on the image that these particles are green, and they make their position in this circle. And there we have some particles that are like shiny blue, and these particles here are darker blue, and these are black.
And they make their own space gap.
Yes.
This is very nice. Very, very nice. This is how, if you look at that boundary, let me come in. I want to explain. I told you, when the man is ready, the knowledge comes. If you look at this, have you put this in rotation?
Yes.
And then, if you look at this, and then if you look at this one, you will see a configuration of the 3 layers, but they position themselves by mass, gravitational magnetic field strength. It'll be interesting if you can look at the side of the dish and see if these materials are floating. They're not on the bottom.
Mr. Keshe, I've noticed the video on the right now looks like the sun and pretty much all the planets you can see in the around the sun, and then there's sort of an asteroid belt beyond the planets, which is just the way the universe works. And I know also it looks very much like the human eyeball.
Yeah, if you look at this, the boundary is the physicality of the material and the fields. It's very interesting. It visualizes a lot of things which we talk about, but it will be interesting to look at the side of this dish and see if these materials are floating or on the floor, on the glass, because the gray shows misty, so it's mixture, is not flat.
So for me, it seems to be that you're right. So some particles are floating on top of the water, and the other are inside of the water, and the height of the layers of the particles are different, as I can see with my eyes, but I cannot make photos of this. So.
It's very interesting. Now you see the edge layers are coming in. The bigger ring is taking shape in there. Thank you very much. It's very nice. Do you have anything else to share with us?
So actually, not at the moment. We talked last week about the light that I can bring on and off by going towards the MyGraph system. Mm-hmm. And
is it still working?
Yeah, it's still working, but I cannot switch it on only if I wish it. So I have to improve my wishes.
Go near to it.
And away.
Try and see. Don't wish it to come on. Wish it, would you like to make me happy?
Yeah, that sounds good. Okay, yeah, I will start with this.
Wish it, would you like to see me happy? And you will see it might come on because it makes you happy. You tell what feeling you want from it, and let's see if he listens.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Come back and share with us your knowledge. Is there anything else? Or we call it a day for today?
I'm just checking over things here now. There is a question from someone, I can't tell the name, it's in Chinese. Hello, Mr. Keshe, I come from China. I would like to ask you how to use the plasma theory to explain the fire. Thank you.
First of all, Happy New Year. Secondly, I don't know what you're talking about.
I think just to explain fire, what is fire in terms of plasma theory?
Fire
how can it be explained? Like we could talk about, just briefly, we talk about fire as one of the forms of plasma along with lightning and so on in terms of that kind of plasma on the planet. But how would you explain it? How would you frame it with the Keshe technology?
Fire, the way we see, is in a matter state, deposition and release of energy. It's not that you just see what goes out. There's huge amount of energy coming in, even when it's, you call it burning. And it's more or less, it's a matter specification, nothing else. We don't have a fire in plasma state. You don't see fire on the surface of the sun. You see the interaction of the fields, which gives light and radiation. The matter state is more or less the only place you see the tangibility which destroys itself when there is too much energy to be released and manifests itself as a heat or large enough as a fire. It's a plasmatic interaction at the matter level of strength. The light we see as the daylight is a matter interaction, it's a field interaction at the plasma level. Fire is a matter interaction at the plasma of the matter strength. Any other question?
Yeah. Yes, Mr. Keshe.
Yes.
This is Flint. This is Flint.
Hi, Flint.
Hi. I just have a question about Fukushima, and there's news out now that the core of Reactor 2 is melted through the concrete containment and going into the ground, and I was just wondering what is the true status of the reactors there and accurate update of the condition of cleanup of contaminated water and lands around the Fukushima facility.
There is an alert out. We know, we are aware of it, but TEPCO has decided to, at this moment of time, cut links with the Keshe Foundation. We prefer to stay that way. Sooner or later they'll come back. As I said, our problem with TEPCO has been confirmation of the work with us, but they had to hide it. We informed them they have sanction busted during the sanction time, and they didn't like it, so sooner or later they'll come back if they need help. But at the moment we are in the hand of judges, and all the trials which are going is a backup of showing what they've done. I cannot tell you anymore. They hijacked the technology. They thought they walked away with it, but as I say, they don't know the rest of the rhythm. I'm aware of this alert. There's a high level alert in China, and in Japan. The level has gone up by nearly as much as 8 times inside the reactor 1, and they'll come back if they need help, but they have burned all the bridges with us themselves deliberately, because they made a few $1 million or a few $1 billion, and now they have to answer. There is a solution for it. We can make systems even at the later stage to do, and we have to see. It cannot, or possibly can go worse, but that worse condition will come if there is the rapid interaction and drop in the system. There is no control, it's just a heap of radioactive material. There is a way to do it, we suggested it, and they jumped off. They thought they were very clever, and what, as I said, we just gotta wait. We'll see. I don't know much more. We are monitoring, we are informed on the continuous basis what's happening inside, and it's going to be a disaster if it goes any further. The only problem we have is that there is a remote possibility, there is a high remote possibility that the interaction and conversion of molten material is leading to creation of plutonium. The system has become, has moved up a step. That's what I see. I could be 100% wrong. The time has taken in past 5 years, 6 years since the accident. There's a possibility that the system has become stepped up to a fast breeder. And that's why we see high levels. It could be a few patches which have gone into the development and production of plutonium, which is inevitably will lead to the blowing up of the rest of the structure. This could have been stopped. There is a way to stop it. They could have reduced the activities, but the highest we knew was 75 per hour. At the moment, something between 500 to 600 plus is reported, which means we are entering plutonium phase. We are definitely entering a plutonium phase. High level radiation from the uranium interaction into high release alert, which they have created, and the numbers which are coming out indicates reactor number 1. We will see this with other reactors in time to come. Is a proliferation. It's a natural proliferation that the system has gone step up from uranium to plutonium. Now it becomes faster and faster. We could see a massive production of plutonium in the next 6 to 12 months, maybe more longer or shorter, depending what they have put in there. Don't forget, this was expected. Reactor number 1 was used for military development of plutonium. We announced this long time ago, and TEPCO didn't like it. Japan illegally has entered it into weapon technology, nuclear weapon technology. Americans know it, IAEA knows it, and that's why the reactor number 1 went this way. They started proliferation, they've gone back on the track of the Second World War, and now this rapid increase confirms our suspicion that reactor number 1 was used by the Japanese for military purposes. Creation of plutonium at this level with a high level radiation from uranium is very, very rare. It's not impossibilities, but they had a seed. They started a seed in around most probably 2008, 2009. They have entered illegal activities of proliferation. I don't know why the Americans are not putting sanctions on Japan so rapidly as they did with Iran, but that's the decision of the new administration. But IAEA has no teeth. Now we will see. And if it goes, we expect a massive explosion. With it will go plutonium and the rest of it. This is a very, very dangerous case. It's extremely dangerous. We are, I was looking at this about, let me read it to you. the levels are at plutonium level. The levels are not at what you call uranium level anymore. The level of the radiation confirms to us plutonium chain of actions or interaction. And this is dangerous. The level of the radiation gives a good insight to the nuclear physicist. What material is used is part of the process. They use plutonium. We warned about it. They are using reactor number 1 as a what do you call it? Prior to the accident. You got to remember this is a publication from Tokyo. It says the recent reading is far higher than the previous record of 73 an hour in the part of reactor and has been described by some expert as unimaginable. Tokyo Electric Power said atmosphere reading of up to 530 an hour had been recorded inside the containment vessel of the reactor that was hit by a huge tsunami in 2011. The worryingly high readings show the scale of the task confronting thousands of workers. As the pressure builds up, TEPCO is to begin a 40-year process of decommissioning. Don't forget, as part of the British gas-cooled reactors, it's taken us nearly 30 years. We haven't managed to do a proper decommissioning. These are pressurized water in England, especially now in Manchester University, which is allocated and destined for decommissioning of the British nuclear reactors. In the control system, we are looking at 30 years. In this Fukushima condition, is impossible. They say a single dose of 1 is enough to cause radiation sickness and nausea. 5 would kill half those exposed to it within a month, and single dose of 10 would prove fatal within a week. TEPCO also said image analysis has revealed a hole in metal beneath the same reactor pressure vessel. 1 meter wide hole was probably created by nuclear fuel that melted and then penetrated the vessel after the tsunami. So as nuclear physicists, when we see these figures and these performances, the highest we've seen 73, and suddenly we are building to 560. Most probably at the center is as high as 1,000, which means we have entered plutonium chain of event. We warn about this. There is still time to overcome it, but it's for TEPCO to openly to discuss with Keshe Foundation. We are not doing any more favors, allowing scientists to fly into Italy and drive high speed, danger themselves, hitting cars and destroying cars, to go to fly out of Germany or Austria, not to show they've been in Italy. The game is over. There is a solution. Even at the plutonium level explosion, there is a solution. We are watching. Don't forget, we work very closely in Japan at the moment, so we are watching it to protect our staff. And we see we have entered nuclear plutonium explosion level. That's imminent. It's just a matter of time, how fast. And if by melting the core there is sub cooling systems, which depends where it goes, how far this meltdown of the steel has gone. Has it embedded in a solid stone, or has it has come across because it's on the literally edge of the country? There are sub water levels which are cooling it down, but it doesn't look like it. The reactor 1 will go to about 1,000, and then we expect the explosion. This is the worrying part for TEPCO. We will not negotiate with TEPCO any further because it's a waste of time. But there is a solution, there is a way it can be done. And what do you call it? We tried to help 3 times. They stole the technology, they thought. Now let them sort out the plutonium explosion. This is a warning to all the ones around the, what do you call, the ring of fire. Because it's a huge amount of it, and so you got to understand nuclear bomb technology. You have to understand the weapon technology in plutonium, hydrogen level, hydrogen bomb, going into the what we call plasma bombs, which are under consideration by different government. That is, you cannot start a chain of event with plutonium willy-nilly unless you have embedded in it, or the material have been cascaded in a specific way that it has started the chain of event. We are not talking about this kind of level over 1 centimeter. The whole of the reactor is showing about 570, and TEPCO has a very good reason to hide it. We think it's as high as 800, possibly to 1,000. And this shows there has been a seed of plutonium, a seed of proliferation. And now it takes time. This is why we produce centrifuges to take these pieces out. That's why high rich uraniums are done with the centrifuge system. This is part of the technology of weapon technology or advanced nuclear power stations. But it does not happen so easily. Piling can be a reason, but as far as we see, and discussion is in the high level atomic nuclear environment, is that we are entering a plutonium chain of process. And we need one trigger, depends how the trigger comes, that we will see the first plutonium war explosion. The wall of the thing will blow up. There will be nothing left of half of Fukushima if it goes. That radiation level is highly dangerous. They are using the tablets, they're trying to do a lot of things, but there is a way that you can confine the radiation, you can use the plasma technology. But we are there to share, but we are not prepared to share the way we did. That they, what do you call it? They do all sorts of funny things to cover up. There is no cover up, and we can release the emails from TEPCO. We wait till the judge will put a decision to TEPCO, and then we'll stand our position. It's dangerous. Yeah, we have entered plutonium chain, that's 100%. Because the uranium chain showed us 73. The scaling up is gone from uranium to plutonium. The understanding of the radioactivity level above plutonium indicates massive amount of plutonium is used. Because if you go to the next level after plutonium, the radiation leak and the explosion is horrendous. We have no knowledge scientifically on that level. The nuclear chain does not stop at plutonium. It carries on to heavy elements which are created in a given specific condition. And there's a possibility some new materials are created in this condition. And in that process, instability of new materials will lead to a new wave of explosions, because there is a half cycle is too short and the energy is building up. 73 was horrendous, reported 560, and we know from around the Fukushima is at about 800. We are entering a plutonium explosion, but how far, when, it all depends how much is kept under control. There is no technology to control it. And there is a way to use plasma technology to cascade it and drain it. and TEPCO is not prepared to show they have sanction busted, so they can go to Iran, negotiate with Iran, and then we enter direct negotiation through Iran with them. IAEA is aware of it, and so I always said, why Japan has not been sanctioned for developing weapon technology openly under the nose of the Americans and the IAEA. Very soon we understand. The strange thing with this is how far Fukushima will go with releasing more, because if they tell you very subtle way, the containment building still has a meter hole in it, which means the radiation now is entering massively into Pacific Ocean. Much more. It's more or less what happened in the first day with all of the things. Now it is leaking into the ocean. You are in a grave danger. The whole thing came up in some pictures about 2-3 weeks ago. Start looking at the radiation in the Pacific Ocean. We see the North China and Canada much less, but we see suddenly huge increase in a massive scale in the Pacific Ocean towards Hawaii and to California coast and down. Part of this radiation could be the cause of reduction in some of the earthquake activities as the field transfer. Quite possible. I looked at this. If you look at the radiation fields across now Pacific Ocean, is horrendous. But we have entered what I call plutonium phase. How far it is stable it holds, nobody knows. Maybe TEPCO now will enter evacuation, total evacuation of the Fukushima area into the other part of the Japan. It's inevitable. We cannot. It's time. Time will tell. They have made a fire under a pile, and this fire is simmering and is releasing. If TEPCO releases radiation around about 700-800 in next coming time, which means we passed 1,000, which means we are at the ignition point. Study weapon technology ignition. We carry nuclear material, we carry plutonium, uranium in a pile, in a warhead. It's the ignition which is the key for release. And high level radiation is needed. You got to realize it's not just the plutonium which starts. Now when it goes into ignition, the rest of the tons of uranium which are on it become part of it. The chain process starts. But time will tell. Will they go off in next few days, next few weeks, in 100 years? It depends. Only Japanese know what they had inside. And as I said, go back to the teaching of 2-3 years ago, as a nuclear physicist, I said we see patterns of plutonium in this reactor. Now we get a confirmation of it. This is a confirmation of what we said. Reactor number 1 was getting used, and on the Japanese Second World War Treaty, you cannot produce weapon technology grade material now. What they've created becomes most probably the noose around their own neck. And what is interesting, and I've discussed it in the terms with IAEA, why have they allowed Japan to produce the nuclear material with the full knowledge of the US and IAEA? We understand the reasons, as they were creating a Cuba condition next to Japan and next to China. This was supposed to pressurize China, but has backfired. If you remember the Cuba crisis with the missiles from Russia, this was planned to be that way, but unfortunately has backfired. The system has exploded inwardly. There are going to be some, what I call problems, huge problems on the north side of the east of China if this goes up. But economically brings Japan in one of the middle range, not on the top 3 or 4 nations in the world, because the island becomes unlivable. But that's time. We got to wait and see. If TEPCO reports 750 to 800, which is now, they have massaged the figures. If they repeat, which means we entered nuclear explosion, plutonium level, and then the rest of the uranium on top of it go, it will trigger, because of proximity of reactor 2 and 3 and 4, a chain of event in a few months later in the other one, in the other one, and in the other one. Sorry about this, but we said years ago this reactor was used, and now you see it. Uranium does not create these kind of levels of activities. Uranium site was at 70, 80, 100. In some meltdowns we see 150, 200. This is 530, which means it's a plutonium chain. Don't forget what they, let me explain to you to understand. What they are observing is what is actually reduced from the blanket of the uranium on top of the plutonium. Is not the real necessary level inside the plutonium spot. And it's a bigger spot because it's actually coming in a huge amount inside the reactor 1. Yes, Rick?
Somebody mentioned the idea, what if we wash the coast with GANs, would that clear the radiation? Or is there a way to use the GANs or
the
type
GANs
of GANs?
is too late. The GANs
it's too late to, you can't put it right directly on the reactor or anything like that. It wouldn't be effective.
No, it's past the time, it's past. It's past. I still offer the technology to the Japanese, not to TEPCO. If the Japanese decide, the Japanese public decides, or Keshe Foundation, the way we did with Yukoko going to Japan, if the Japanese decide to, what they call, overtake the condition in TEPCO, and the government allows the Keshe Foundation to be inside, we are prepared to show ways. There are still ways to deplete the plutonium. It happens all the time in the universe. We know the technology.
It looked like it had melted through the grating on the bottom of the containment vessel and had gone right through the floor, basically.
It's gone. It's gone. It's
so
gone. It's known as a China.
Do you have an instant answer for that problem? Or
it takes time. It can be done. It can be done, especially with dynamic reactors. We can do. It's passed into matter state. You have to confine it with the dynamic reactors, specifically in a specific way loaded, that very much you can extract the energy in a column in a specific way. Yes, it's possible. Very much possible. But that is the problem of TEPCO. Go on the internet, educate yourself, and see the level of the radiation. You're talking about huge space. It's not one point. The whole core is creating that much per hour, which means the whole building is, the whole pile is about to go. But how much, how far, and if the cooling system or in the meltdown it has entered stone, which most probably it has. They build these reactors because they will do a lot of geological tests. If it hasn't melted the stone layer underneath the reactor and it's entered the water system, you might find the cooling. They can go carry on for years and it won't go. But if it's blocked, passing the containment, then we are in for a plutonium warhead explosion.
Mr. Keshe, there's just news come in from the live stream about a nuclear power reactor in France. They just had an explosion apparently at Flamanville nuclear power plant in northern France, possibility of some injuries. Authorities have said there is, quote, no nuclear risk. And apparently this just came out in the last few minutes here.
We got
News
to see
report.
there has been a problem in the French nuclear reactors, we know. Large numbers have been stepped down because of the other positions. Part of the same system goes, that's why the Belgians went on distributing iodine tablets around Belgium. Where is this reactor? Can we spot it? Which position is in France? Can you put it up?
It's in northern France in Flamanville. Yes, there is a map. There's a map here. I think I can put that, show that on the website.
It's on the Belgium side, because there is a problem. We know the number of reactors has been shut down or put on the standby in front. Too many, actually. Can we see it?
Let me see if I can get it here. Let me see if I can make it bigger too. Not much, but just a minute here.
Oh,
okay, there's. There it is, way at the very tip, northern tip of France.
Yeah, it's on the on the British side. Yeah,
right, very close to Britain, actually.
Yeah, it's on the British side, Portsmouth side, Southampton side. We gotta wait and see. We know reports have been coming in for past 12 months. More and more French reactors are going on a standby or repair. Nobody knew why. But don't forget, these reactors are used to the full facility, full capability or capacity. In past 10 or 15 years, French becoming the backbone support of the Europe for electricity to the nuclear reactors wherever there was a short fallout. So now we see the consequences of it. They are heavily used. There is a large number of reactors offline at the moment. Too many, I think. Is it 10 or 20? It's a double-digit figures, I think, which is very unusual. We'll see. We wait and see.
Mr. Keshe,
yeah.
Can you explain briefly what a plutonium bomb would be like and affect the ring of fire, as you said earlier?
Where Fukushima is placed, we've never had plutonium level explosion. Test we have. So depending on the direction of the wind, depending on the direction of the explosion, depends on if it gets recontaminated back on. Plutonium explosion it leads itself to a hydrogen explosion. It's part of the process. So you have a back-to-back multiple explosions. Most probably radius of 200 to 500 kilometers from the point will be unlivable for a long time. Then it's what contaminations in the sea. Then if you are a proximity of this kind of things, you need to create filters made of solid or dried gas CO2, possibly CO2 plus copper oxide. Make sure you create a dry gas of zinc oxide. You make them in layers very much like what you do with the filters nowadays with the carbon. You put different layers of the gas inside dry. It has to be totally dry. You pass the water and air through it. It's the only way you can absorb radiation fields. It's the only way. Because of the strength of it, you can filter water. You can filter what you call air. With a nuclear explosion, we change from the matter state filters to plasma state filters. That's the only one you can give it. and you can drink purified water. The problem is you have to liquidate everything. The soup will be the passion of the way. Air has to be filtered the same way. Exposure, as you read, I just read to you, 10 will mean more or less death, and then you go out by dimension, by the explosion. You have to remember that land will be fully contaminated. It means these parts of plutonium will land all over the place in a massive way. But we got to wait and see. I hope it doesn't happen. Technology to extract the energy to change the plutonium to uranium is with us. We have the technology. It's for TEPCO this time to enter negotiation the correct way, like men, not like bandits, I call them. I can read you the email we received from TEPCO. You'll be shocked. It takes me 2 seconds. And I can read you my response to TEPCO. Give me a second, I'll read it for you, then you understand. We have entered plutonium phase. That's why we see high rate. Now we have to see how international community reacts. They are trying to play it casually. It could be months, it could be years before we see it. But the way suddenly has increased, this is the problem they have. There is no solution. They cannot bring it down. They cannot wash it because it's coming from inside of the pile. So we'll see. We have no experience with this. We have no precedence with this. Let me write TEPCO, I bring it up. TEPCO. Let me change the date. My response on the 14th of 12, 2016, which is about a couple of months ago, was very simple to TEPCO. And that is, I can even review the name. Is written to the head of the TEPCO communication. It says, "Dear Miss blah blah blah, I forgot to mention one point about your email and the dishonesty in it. We have with this email, your email confirmation of the sanction breaking by TEPCO, and this is what we were looking for. Content of your email confirms sanction busting, and that is interesting, as there was nothing wrong with our work. And as it became public that we are helping you. If the work was no good, why then your organization kept asking for more and specific different test materials? With this email and what we have in our records, we can proceed with the judge order to bring you into international court for lying and sanction busting. I think you and your management has made a big mistake and walked yourself into a big trap, which we set for you, and in confirming to us and any judgment about your case will the technology be identified. Please advise your management that we wait for you to respond correctly within 24 hours. And then now the case is in the hand of the judge. The judge will decide, and TEPCO will receive heavy penalties for sanction busting. And they confirm how they have to sack people in different organizations that they could cover the what do you call it, their work. It's inevitable what is happening in there. They've entered what do you call it? They have entered the wrong way by stealing, and in a way they have done that themselves also. I read it to you. This is from TEPCO, dated 13th of the 12th, 2016. It says, our record shows that the irradiation absorber materials were introduced and samples were supplied to us through the intermediary supply company operating in Japan. That's from TEPCO. It says, at this point, we do not see any point to start conversation with your organization. And then it goes, says, what we told you for years, you must already be aware that our supply contract with so-called intermediate company was terminated because of your unwarranted release of information. And unfortunately, this issue ended up dismissal of responsible people from supply company, including its vice president and sales manager. Yet, such a troublesome history of the work with us that we went public with it. It reads it. You must already be aware that our supply contract with the so-called intermediate company was terminated because of your unwarranted release of information. Now we see how TEPCO works. This is a confirmation which TEPCO has done, and subsequently it's gone to IAEA. That the only reason they stopped the work with us was because we were very correct in public helping the Japanese and going that we are working with TEPCO. And it's signed by one of the top directors of TEPCO. So this time when they come, they have to come through public channels. There is nothing wrong with the Keshe Foundation technology in the nuclear technology industry. They know it. And two things has happened. There are what we call in English, angry because we went public. Publicly we tried to help the Japanese, not just TEPCO, to make billions. And that confirms. There is nothing wrong with the plasma technology, especially in radiation and nuclear, because this technology is built for a space technology, and there is nothing but radiation in a space. Now, I've read you what's come there as part of the Keshe Foundation family, you understand. They're angry, we went public telling people what we do, because that's how we started as a Keshe Foundation. If you remember, Yukoko went to Fukushima, and we did the test publicly. That's how they knew it works. That's why they came to us. They use an intermediary not to be showing that the sanction busting. You got to realize, leading Iranian nuclear physicist, and at the time of this accident, Iran was on nuclear sanctions. The only reason a lot of you were wondering why Obama doesn't put me on the sanction list, because they needed that they could carry on the work in Tokyo, in Japan. That's the only reason. I was never put directly on the sanction list, because they needed the knowledge I was carrying to help Japan, and they are. Don't forget, these reactors are owned by the American government, and under United Nations Treaty, America is responsible for Japan's nuclear industry, according to the Second World War. Britain is responsible for Germany. And both of the sanctions have been busted in one way or another. We saw both ended up with the Iranian situation. In Germany, Germany is investing in, what do you call it, in Belgium, building reactors for medical application to match the Iranian business. And on the other side, Japanese, America is responsible. IAEA has broken its own sanctions heavily, just to the favor of a few, but now is playtime. The case is in the hand of a judge in Japan, and when we explain to you that we are doing initial tests, phase 1, phase 2, phase 3 and everything else, and the license given to us is because it's within the structural order of a judge. The judge is monitoring everything. All the data, how to be handled is done, because this information should have been shared by the public. And you see it in the email I read you. The anger with TEPCO is, why did you go public? That it shows we were sanction busted. There is a figure of billions damages to Keshe Foundation out of the judgment, but it goes back to you because you are the ones of the foundation. There is nothing wrong with the technology in the space and in radiation. There is still a solution, but the damages will be vast. Members of the TEPCO are part of the listening now. They are sitting amongst you, listening, and I bet they're, as we say, making a lot of mess in their pants. This time, negotiation with TEPCO, work with TEPCO, with the Japanese, will be open on the table, that they don't get angry while we release the information. They've said it. There is nothing wrong except the pride of Japanese. And strange enough, the manager who sanctioned the work with Keshe Foundation died in an accident. His death is gone, and nobody knew why. He said many times to us, I don't want to deal with Keshe, but I have to because it's the only solution for us. And they had a solution. They sold it for 263 million in the United States. It's inevitable. This reactor is going to go, but very, very badly. This time it'll go. Last time was a structure. This time is a controlled nuclear explosion. Any other question?
Mr. Keshe, there's someone that's been waiting to show their health pens. They have 2 health pens they want to show or talk about.
Yes.
Is that okay?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, Atana's. Let's see what
Have
you
you
have to show
noticed
there.
something, Rick? Have you noticed something? Since we exposed the hand of those people who are intimidating, people had started sharing knowledge again because they know who they are. We go for them. Have you noticed
Yes,
that?
right. Mm-hmm. Yeah,
once we
so
put the L away, the rest will go with it, and then we'll see. We become a free nation operation. Carry on, please.
Okay, Atanas, do you want to go ahead there? What do you have to share? Do you want to start your video?
Hello, can I start sharing?
Yes.
Who are you? Where are you from?
Hello, Mr. Keshe. My name is Atanas Bozhinov. I'm from Bulgaria. I'm administrator of Keshe Foundation Bulgarian Facebook page.
Thank you very much.
We know each other. We met in Varna in Bulgaria when you was here.
Thank you very much. Go ahead.
Okay, I will try to start the video, but
let me explain to you something very strange is happening with Bulgarian scientists. There's a scientist which we have spoken to. They want to test and release the papers about the work of the plasma and the GANs. And this gentleman is a scientist who says he can prove that the GANs and the plasma technology is correct. We pass it on to Bulgarian Keshe Foundation to handle this case with the professor. Then you can benefit by it. Carry on, please.
Can you get your video started, Atanas?
I tried to start the video, but it showed me that you cannot start your video because the host
maybe we have
disabled.
to. Let's see if
we got
can
to let you to share.
There we go. Okay, try that now. There we go. Sorry.
We got
Okay.
a video of Rick.
Okay. Hello. Hello.
Hello, yes, you
I
got
will
to
switch.
open up your thing. Yeah. Hello, go ahead, please.
Okay. I switch my camera to show these head pens that I made from your teachings. So what I want to share, in these pipes, I have the same pens like here, but with more windings. Here I have 162 windings, and here I have 144 windings. These both health pens I use to treat myself against viruses like flu viruses. This use in that way that with right hand I keep that pen next to a Himalayan salt lamp, and with the left hand I keep that health pen to that side, and I keep in that way for maybe 20 to 30 to 40 minutes. It depends from my body. Actually, I keep it as long as I feel that I need to hold it.
What does it do? What's the purpose of this?
The purpose is against viruses. I mean, when I feel that I'm starting to get sick from a virus, for example, if I see many people around me sick from a virus, and when if I feel getting a cold or flu, later at home I keep these pens that way, and I feel much better, and I feel cured from the virus. I mean, from the this is early prevention from the virus, and that way I keep healthy with these pens. This is nano-coated with caustic only, and the copper is the same like from the Magraph.
That's fantastic. Thank you very much. We are using what you are doing, this white bottle, the transparent bottle from Coca-Cola. Yeah, this is what we are using in Africa for medical application. It's cheap. We can put it in the market very rapidly.
Yes. That's why I use it, because it's cheap.
Access to huge things. These bottles are a gift.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Actually, that's all that I want to share. It's tested, and everyone can test it for themselves.
For themselves, yeah, I understand.
It's easy. It's very easy.
Very easy.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Anything else?
I'll stop sharing.
Thank you. Is there anything else to share, Rick?
There's still more questions as always, Mr. Kesh, but I'm not sure if you want to carry on with that.
What's the time now? What's our time limit?
We're at 3 hours into it.
An hour. Okay, let's see if we can answer any questions.
Okay. Let's see what we have here. We have 2 people with their hands up. I can promote them, the panelists, and see what they have for questions. There's Martin. And who's the other person? Another person just got promoted there as well. Jigbani as well. If you want to promote you first, I'll try to unmute you. Hello, Jigbani, if that's the name. Can you speak there? Do you want to ask a question or?
Yes. Good morning, Mr. Kesh.
Good morning. Where are you from?
I'm coming from Togo.
Togo, yes.
Link of Mr. Paul.
Yes.
Okay, yes. I want to thank you, everybody, for Kesh Foundation. But now I see somebody ask question if Mr. Kesh believe of karma, but I don't have answer. I want to know what you say to him.
I don't understand.
I say in the question, one person asked you a question if you believe to the karma, if Mr. Kesh believe, but I don't know the answer. That's why I'm asking question.
Believing in karma. It depends
Karma,
what you
yeah.
call, what do you call a karma.
There was
One
another
person
question. Sorry, there's another question as well that relates to that someone was asking. In fact, two people. There was Doug asked, does Mr. Kesh believe in karma? And also Umit asks how the past lives affects our current life. So is that that's related as well, perhaps? So, Mr. Kesh, if you can talk about that a bit.
Yeah, but you got to explain to me what you call a karma.
Okay, somebody are talking about karma like this. If it means that you live in the life, and one time you died, and when the baby born, they are saying that the energy of that person come again in the life. That they are calling karma. I want to know if it's that.
Yeah, but you have to explain that very, very much. Exactly what do you mean?
When this person asks for karma, they are telling that in Africa, if somebody is in the life, like me, okay? This life, after that, if your energy finished, like you died, it's finished. They are saying that if the new baby come, and this baby have the link like the past person, so that I want to have clarify of this notion of karma.
If you think you're by dying, you come back and recreate, you get reincarnated, you mean?
Okay.
Yes? Or your soul gets reincarnated in another body or a child or whatever.
No, well, yes.
I don't believe in that.
Okay,
because
thank you.
the way I understand the process of creation, you never die.
Okay.
In a way, you never die. It's a transformation from one state to another of a different strength.
Okay.
But depends what you have gathered in the process.
Okay.
And the way I understand the process of the creation,
yes,
reincarnation in the level of the physicality of the same dimension,
okay,
is a possibility. Okay. But you can, when the soul is free, to manifest itself in different dimensions. Okay. But you still have connection with what do you call it? The souls which you have interacted or you have created in the process of your life. Reincarnation on the level of the humanity, back on the human race, and back on, is more or less impossibilities. You cannot kill yourself and come back again.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Kesh.
Thank you very much. That's my understanding.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
You're doing a lot of good work in Togo. We are watching you.
Thank you, sir. We are trying to do good with Mr. Paul.
Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you, Mr. Kesh.
Mr. Kesh, we have a question from, I think, an old friend, Ivan Ivanov, and it's in the live stream. He asks, Rick, please ask my question. Hi, Mr. Kesh. I was trying to reach the soul according to your instruction. I followed the signals as you described. I have a problem. It doesn't matter what feeling I follow. As deeper I go, as the strength of the feeling increases until it starts to be impossible to follow. How can I go further? If I feel a pain on the top, when I follow deeper, start to be like 10, the pain, and my attention can't stay there. It is impossible. Speaking of attention. So that's the basic question is,
I
how
don't
can he go?
understand what the question is.
Well, I think you had a technique about following the pain or following the feeling deeper. And he says he goes deeper, but the feeling increases until it starts to be impossible to follow.
And the more you practice, the deeper you can follow. The restriction comes out of the fear of the man of unknown.
The more you can tolerate, you develop a tolerance for it, like tolerance for pain.
Soon, very soon, men of space will understand. I was in a meeting yesterday, and I said to the people around the table that we are going to go to space from here in Accra. And I could not believe it. Here, impossible. I said it'll happen very soon because we're on the verge of doing it. And after understanding the explanation of the technology, they could see yes, they could go. But they're still looking at the physical dimension to go, because if you go further, you can travel with the deeper space of your body. You don't need. One day I explained how the body of the man is created to be able to transmute. And the man has not even understood. Stand and look for the body of the man from the top of the head. You will see the condition of the structure of the 4 reactors, and you'll see the condition of the 12 reactors, even more. If you can go deep enough to reach the state of the soul, you will understand how deep enough you can travel within the space of the dimension. This is very, very simple. The shape of the body of the man, especially the brain and other organs, has given man the opportunity to be able to travel. If he understands his emotion, you don't need a vehicle. If you adjust your breathing in line with the work of the flow of the blood in your heart, you have found the delta. If you find the position of the interaction of the position of the emotional side, you have achieved the 4th reactor. You always look for a chakra from the bottom to the top, but the chakra of the space of the man in motion sits flat on his chest. If you understand this process, then through the emotion, which you can change the reactors of the soul, or a strength of the release of the soul, you decide the shape of the body of the man in manifestation of his existence. If you can control your lungs, now you can see you decide the flow of the energy, and with it, you decide the shape of the man. Those who speak about chakras and they work this way, they have not fully understood the knowledge of the existence. You go with the chakras this way. But in fact, you have to work what is connected to the emotion, not to the physicality. Anything below this side is to do with physicality totally. So when you have the soul in strength through the emotion, and you have the existence of the lungs, now you see yourself in a dimension of the craft. You decide what to be manifested in what shape which comes here. Is the pull of the physicality of the matter of the state which creates the extension of the body of the man. So if you understand how to control this environment through your emotion, as I said, you can even decide on the color of your eyes every second. The people who carry different souls, you call them schizophrenic, they have access to this better than anybody else. They change the behavior and the physicality with it. You see people with very strong characteristics of multiple souls, they change the color of their eyes through the emotion. So it's the soul and the emotion which dictates the manifestation of the physicality. When you look into an eye of a person with multiple souls, when you speak to one soul or the other, you see the color of the eye changes, because that's what I want to attract. That's why I want to be shown. So the emotion changes, and it happens instantaneously. I've seen a few. So the emotion has a direct effect on manifestation of the physicality. So you tell me how you can do. If you are in control of your emotion, that you can interact with your soul, you can change your direction and dimension anywhere in space. You don't need an aircraft. You don't need a spaceship. Many people travel like this across the universe. Many, many. Because they control the emotion and they decide the place of manifestation. They carry both male and female, as you call it, but they don't, it's not a reproduction organ. It's giving from to exist. You become the atom and the rib. That's where it comes from. So with your emotion you can and you do exist. And that's what they call when the souls fall in love. Because it's the sharing of the essence of the energy of the creation. But it takes man a long time, because man does not have trust in his own existence, let alone knowing he can control his emotion and his soul. Because we always been put separation that there is a God, but in fact the God is the creator of their own soul which connects. Next question.
There's a related question in the live stream from Lorink, says Goel B. Is the human blood connected to the emotional level because the red blood cells have lost their cores They
Not
mentioned
really, yes.
birds have DNA cell cores in their blood, apparently. And they mentioned the intermediary layer you were talking about before for the materialization of the fields, and the red blood cells light up, as we all know.
The creation of the blood, as I've explained in the other teaching, is the connection between the emotion or the soul of the man with the physical part. The physical part carried by the iron, which is the planet you have created from, which gives you the hemoglobin, the beginning of the structure, and the oxygen is from the dimension of the amino acid side, which the two create a flow. I explained this last week or two in the teaching. So the blood carries both the field interaction composition of the emotion as one side with the amino acid, and on the other side with the metal side, which is the physicality, which oxygen does the emotional side, and the iron in the hemoglobin does the matter side of the connection to the planet. And of course it does affects one, and that's how you share everything between the body. The emotion side and the physical part. If you look at it, your brain is the gaseous part, and from neck down you're in matter state, where there is the matter of the muscles and everything else, which is the attributes of the physical part of the planet. So in deep space you can travel, you never die. At the moment, as I said before in other teaching, the assumption that when you go into space you die and deep and you disappear. In a way you never die. If you understand your soul, you decide where you want to land. You become a rocket on your own. When they find a man who has found the path to his soul, he'll exist anywhere in the universe. The path to your soul is a chameleon to the life in the universe. Any other question?
Well, Mr. Keshe, the question comes up, of course. Leon asked the question in the chat, Zoom chat. So why are we building a spaceship? Why not building an activating station for our body?
We are teaching everything. It's you who decides which ship to take. The donkey,
yeah.
The taxi, there's a jumbo jet, there is a what do you call it, a car. You decide which way you want to transfer. At the moment you're happy with the donkey, so we're showing you a little bit more. There could be a car too. It's your decision, but we teach everybody. Just because you have donkey, we didn't stop getting into cars. Any other question?
There's a question that's come up a couple of times from Freed in the live stream. How is sound used to initiate the building or changing of fields, or how to build a starship with the help of sound next to GANs and plasma?
When you do it, let me know.
I've been working on some sound experiments of my own and hope to create a plasma using sound in a sphere of water. But I'll let you know how it goes and if I get the results I want.
We are always a student, we learn.
Okay, is there anybody else who's in the panelists who has a question?
We're nearly 3.5 hours. Let's call it a day. And then we learn a little bit more. We try to teach that you understand about the space ship development. we hear there is a promising talk. We'll see where it goes to. And we try to explore more and more. If we teach everything in one go, everybody will be left behind. So I'm taking my time to teach more in this direction. Please remember, we're still looking for cancer volunteers for the trials. We still need quite a few more people. On the other hand, please remember, collaborate with us to gather more information. We are looking for the past records of 2 people on the case of Mr. DL. We think there are more deaths, packages, which we don't know about. DL has been part of. And the facts about Dirk, the researchers and the securities will put more information, most probably in the next week or 2, showing the direct connection before, during, and after the death of the scientist in Holland, how it's been collaborated, how suddenly they appear in the compression. And we need to bring this case to close. The only thing which the police in Belgium did not know was that the gentleman who died in the cell was a collaborator and working with the guy who initiated it. And he was disposed of because he could have talked. Everything else was made to look that way because they've been after this suitcase for a long time. We're sharing knowledge on a regular basis with the attorneys of all cases. They can pass messages on to each other, and we're working with the police in different directions. We need more information on the background of existence of this gentleman, who is what we call close associate, his partner. Literally they sleep and eat with each other, and they lived across the road, more or less on the same street, because there wasn't enough time to plan the next murder. So it is important for us to close this case the way we did with Alan. All the links end up in Antwerp, child trafficking, now the murders, and patents which they put in, they thought they're gone. When we speak to the families and the close friends of the, what do you call, in these cases, we realized that everybody knew, but they even didn't know that there are people putting the pattern down. The suitcase just got missing. Now they can see it. Hopefully we will have DL in custody very soon with his associate, because you don't come up with a pattern and a suitcase and plan murders so willy-nilly. We have evidence showing their collaboration from 1998, 1999, and suddenly both of them become compressionist. Very interesting, but let the police do. I promise, as I said, I'll bring the murders of Fabio to justice, and we'll see again how it's happened. Now we ask it to be released. They did not release, so researchers and security have released the pictures. We could have released a picture of the girl who was killed, and you should see the picture of the gentleman who died. This man I've met twice with DL, and strange enough, he has been suspected. 2 people he knows all suspected in the same murder, and one has been disposed of by DL's connection within the Belgian police. I mean, know which policeman is involved, because we have other track records from him the same. So you see the picture is becoming very clear. We need your further support and information that we can bring this case to a close and make at least the world of scientists safe and less pedophiles on the road. We showed his collaboration with the people they call liars, that how he's been lying, and we showed now connection with the fire. Everything is there. It's our job, it's my job, not only secure Keshe Foundation, and stop all the nonsense which is gone. We don't want you to take anything down because you left enough fingerprint that with what you've written in the past year, will bring you the justice. You have done enough yourself, damaging yourself. You have shot yourself in the foot. Now we help you to get to the ambulance, which takes you to a prison. Thank you very much for today.
Very good. Thank you, Mr. Keshe, once again. Okay, that will end the teaching for the 158th Knowledge Seekers Workshop for Thursday, February 9th, 2017. And thank you everybody once again for attending and for participating in today's workshop. Okay, I'll end the live stream feed.